What a great advert for Scottish football. Rangers are through to the last eight of the Europa League. What a performance. It was tenacious. It was gritty. They fought. It wasn't the best and most exciting game, but it had everything that Rangers required and needed to do. Yes, they came out with a loss at the end in this fixture as a 2-1 loss. Let me try again. One advert for Scottish football. Rangers are through to the final eight of the Europa League, and what a performance. It was gritty, it was tenacious, there was fight. They really had to fight for tonight because we knew Belgrade were going to come out. Everyone expected that from this game today, but they fought. They lost on the night, but overall on aggregate, they go through as victors. 4-2 on aggregate, which is another huge win. They lost 2-1 tonight, but what a performance. But if you're new to the channel, please do click the link down below and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It takes you 2 seconds and it does really help. Smash that like button and subscribe. But let's get right into it. This game was absolutely class. It had everything that we expected. We all knew Belgrade were going to come for this. There was 3-0 down at their home ground, and you know the atmosphere there, that famous tunnel before the game. You could feel the atmosphere was building, the fans, the stadium was rocking, and it created that horrible, hostile environment. And you knew the first thing you wanted from Rangers was not to concede in the first 2 minutes. And they lasted more than 2 minutes, but by, I think it was around the 10th minute, they'd concede that first goal. And it was such a sloppy goal to concede. Morelos, I don't understand what he was doing, why he didn't clear the ball. And I think it might have been Goldson or Balogun, one of the two of them, were caught lacking with their man. Quite a few players, even Kamara as well, I think was caught lacking with his man. But they went a goal down. But then they had to really, really fight and look back at each other and say, do you know what? Okay, we're going to close up shop. We can't concede. And you knew what Belgrade were going to do. That it was the same danger they had in that first leg with that long ball. They like to play the ball into the channels early and test the defence. And in the first 10 minutes, we saw the midfield and the defence. There was quite a large gap between the two of them. But straight away, that changed. Lundstrom dropped deeper, Jack dropped deeper, and Kamara was left a bit more isolated in kind of that number 10 role, had more of a free role. Aribo came in as kind of maybe occasionally a 3 in that midfield, and Kent stayed up with Morelos. And boy, did that work. It really worked. And obviously, that is where the goal came from Kent and Kamara. And Kamara won't get the plaudits for that goal because Kent played it into him and he flicked it off ever so well. He got absolutely battered. That someone came through behind him. But that simple touch meant that Ryan Kent could go through. Don't get me wrong, Kent, it was a great goal. He took on his man. Yes, Pacini did go up holding his leg, but that was because of the sheer pace, because he couldn't keep up with him. And yes, it took a deflection, but then again, he took the shot. You have to take these risks. And Kent comes alive in these games. You can tell he's a big game player, and you could see what it meant to him when he was celebrating with the fans. But what a performance. He is one of those players that, you know, he struggled quite a few times early on in the game. He tried to take on his man Pacini, and he kept taking the harder moments where he could have played it inside players like Kamara, but he tried to beat the man. And Pacini was having the best of him. But you know, with Kent, you just need one chance and he will make magic happen. And that's what he did. I thought Aribo on the other side really struggled today, but he did that defensive work that he needed to do. He didn't do much going forward, but defensively he did what he had to do. I thought Kamara again was class. I thought today, I thought he kept the ball moving, and quite a few times he brought challenges, taking the ball in difficult situations, because we all knew the pressure was going to be on that midfield. And fair play to Rangers. They conceded 2. Yes, that last goal was it was a consolation goal, really. At the end, it was Kamara. Yeah, it was a penalty, but it's a soft one. You can't really do anything about it. But I thought Tavernier struggled, but then yet again, and I think the fullbacks will get a lot of harsh critics now because they came in so, let me think of the word, narrow. Because of the ball kept going across, the two fullbacks came in and they were tight with Goldson and Balogun, helping the two of them with those long balls and the flick-ons, which then allowed the fullbacks and the wingers to get in behind down those wings. So a couple of times it did look like they'd left their men, but they'd done it on purpose because they backed themselves in that 6-yard box. And every time the ball did come in, not many times it really, really tested McGregor, but McGregor, what a performance. Has to be man of the match. One of the best single performances I've seen from a goalkeeper at this stage of the competition. He was everything that was good about Rangers today. He made so many saves, 13 shots on target from Red Star Belgrade. He was class in the first leg with that penalty save, and he was class in the second leg. So many times he was called upon, and everything, he just made it look easy. The 40-year-old was like a cat in the box. Yes, he conceded 2, but what a performance from him. And I keep going back to it. The second goal was a consolation goal, but yes, they still conceded it, but still, what a performance. They had to fight for that. And I think that took a really good sign for Rangers fans. I think you've seen today that they've shown a different side. You've seen them against the likes of Dortmund when they've taken the games to others. Well, they sat back and soaked up pressure, and they did it well. They fought, and that was the thing. In the midfield, I thought Ryan Jack struggled a bit today, but he still did what he was needed to do. He won the ball back, passed it on. That's what they had to do because there was a pressure from Red Star Belgrade. They were camped in Rangers half. They just had to soak it up, just like a sponge, soak up that pressure for as much as possible because, again, the atmosphere was rocking. You saw it at halftime, the fans chanting and cheering the entirety of that halftime. And you could feel, after that first goal, you could feel the pressure because you could see it. Passes were going astray. But I don't know who it was, maybe Tavernier, I think it was Tavernier, made a challenge just a little bit later on and just knocked into a player. And you saw him shouting at the rest of the team, like, we need to book our ideas up. Let's calm ourselves down and do what we can do. We know we're a better side than this. And they then started passing the ball around and occasionally just just slowing the game down, just passing it around the back every now and then, buying fouls and taking time. And that is what you have to do in these big games. You have to play it properly. You've got to be streetwise when players are going down and just taking their time. McGregor slowing everything down with his goal kicks and things. That's what they had to do, and they did that. Just took complete momentum out of Red Star Belgrade. And really, when did you really? Obviously, McGregor made quite a few great saves, but I don't think Red Star Belgrade ever looked like they were going to score. They'd get to the ball and they cut it back, and Balogun and Goldson would get it clear every time. They were strong in that defence, and that's what I found most exciting for Rangers because it showed that they can play in either way. And whoever gets Rangers in the next leg, I would be worried because they've shown that they can play either way. They can be tenacious, they can fight, they can bully teams, they can soak up pressure, and they can take games to others. I thought Morelos ran the channels well. He didn't get much service, but what he did do, he bullied and he frustrated the centre-backs. I think Dragovic couldn't cope with him. And quite a few times he'd take the ball to feet with his back to goal and he'd get those fouls, let the players come through the back of him, and he moved it on when he needed to. Lundstrom, again, I thought he was great. When he needed to, he dropped back into, make it in kind of like a back three, occasionally, more like a back five with the way they were soaking up the pressure. But then he did also ping it about quite a few times. He'd take the ball and ping it straight over to Kent early on. I thought Kent was great, as I said. Moments he dipped, but he's a big-time player. You know, in the big moments, he's the man you would want to see have the moment. Bassi, I thought he struggled a bit, but then again, I keep saying it, and I go back to the point with Ryan Kent being so far forward, Bassi's always going to struggle in these games when they're trying to soak up the pressure because constantly he had two men against him, and it was Keita. Keita kept him in that right-hand side. I thought he was by far Red Star Belgrade's best player. I thought he was really, really good, and I've said it before, wouldn't surprise me if we see him linked to a club maybe in Scotland or in England, a bigger side in Europe, because I thought he was absolutely class again today. But Bassi did what he had to do. He kept coming in a bit more narrow, allowing them to those balls to come in, and Balogun and Goldson kept sweeping it. I thought Goldson today was absolutely class. He really fought for the team. He won all the headers. So many duels he had to get up for both him and Balogun because the balls were constantly going in behind. They were drilling it into the players. They were lofting it over the top. They had to soak up a lot of pressure. There was a lot of things straight onto them. So I thought those two today were absolutely class. But as I keep saying, McGregor, what a performance. He kept them in this game at points because there was times when they really rode their luck. But overall, as I said, I know I keep sounding like I'm contradicting myself, but I don't really think Red Star Belgrade had that conviction, that final edge, that final moment to really take their chances. But what a performance again from Rangers. They've done the job. They've gone through 4-2 victors to the final 8 in Europe. And what a performance it was. Whoever they get will be nervous. But yeah, what a performance. And guys, as I said already, please smash that like button and do subscribe. It takes you 2 seconds, but it does honestly really help. And I will be really, really grateful. But thanks for watching, guys. Look out, Sam, over and out. Who will they get in the next round? Let me know as well. And who was your man of the match? As I said, book out Sam, over and out. Thank you. Goodbye.